John from Astoria, Oregon. Welcome.
Happy New Year, Sam.
Happy New Year, John. How you doing?
Good. I'm a loyal listener of your program. I enjoy what you have to say, and I really enjoy your guests. You have some great guests.
Thank you.
It's a good talk show. I just like to say that I believe we're in the early stages of economic genocide toward the poor and the working class of this country, and it's no coincidence that a Democrat is in office to help push this through, because remember who got rid of welfare as we know? It was Bill Clinton. If a Republican would do these type of things, there would be massive defections on the Democratic side, but the Democrats fall and fold, and I'm very disappointed. I am very proud of my own congressperson out here. I don't live in his district because I live in District 2, but District 5 is Peter DeFazio.
Right, he
voted against this mess.
It was only about 9. I mean, look, in terms of this deal, if you look at it in a vacuum, okay? If you look at it in a vacuum, put aside the revenue for a moment. It helps. It does provide some tax relief specifically geared towards the working poor, and it provides at least 1 year extension of unemployment benefits.
Right. I agree with what you're saying, Sam, but I think we had a choice this year in the elections. I voted for Jill Stein. If I lived in a push state, I would have voted for Jill Stein. But I think we had a choice between incremental austerity or chainsaw austerity. America chose incrementalism. And I think that's what you're going to get with Obama. You're going to get more of this incrementalism, and their message is really simple. It's basically the message the oligarchs have had since the New Deal. Globalization through privatization. They're trying to privatize every damn thing in this country. Matter of fact, back in 2005, they passed the legislation on the post office, trying to privatize the post office.
Yep.
And one of the people that voted for that was Senator Feinstein, and this story needs to get out there. Senator Feinstein is married to Richard Bloom, who is a real estate mogul who's buying up the post offices.
There's no doubt in my mind that when they basically larded up the post office with having to pre-fund retirement packages on a 75-year horizon, but don't allow them to raise the price on stamps, it's quite clear what they're trying to do. I mean, both of those things are unprecedented in any sort of, not just government agencies, but in the private world. I mean, listen, I agree with you. I am not, the beauty of incremental austerity is that it can be stopped at different times. And we are not, we haven't seen it yet. The real problem is going to come with the debt limit. And, Ryan Grimm seems to think that the president is passionate about holding the line on the debt limit. I'm a lot more skeptical. I'm not a huge fan of this president. I agree with you that in the context of if Mitt Romney were to try and cut Social Security, Democrats would rally. But, we saw this with President Bush. There was a lot of other things that Democrats caved in. And, I think to a certain extent, I interviewed Jill Stein on this program, and her positions are all well and good. I agree with her on probably, I don't know. I mean, I'm just going to take a guess, 95% of everything she says. I don't even know what that other 5% would be. But in terms of it actually happening, I think, I just happen to think that the road to getting to these places are through a reformation of political vehicles that we already have. I was having this conversation with somebody over the break. I can't remember what it was. They were saying, FDR had they had been reading a history book about the 10 years leading up to the Great Depression. He said FDR pushed the ball forward so much more than Obama. And, Obama had the same opportunity. And I agree. With that said, if you look at what was happening with people in the country at that time, there were other movements that put FDR in the situation of going to the plutocrats and saying, hey, it's either my deal or they put your head on a spike. And that was not a question of like they're necessarily voting for other people. That was a question of there was real people were hitting the streets, people were organizing, people were flexing the power of people. And, we need to see that. We saw some of it last year, but we need to see more of it.
I think we're moving in that direction, though, Sam, because right now approximately 20% of the population is living below the poverty line, and it's getting worse all the time.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you. I mean, one of the things that we've been talking about that Peebles that moment on Up with Chris when I was sitting with that plutocrat, and I met some people the other day who said, I watched that. They were at New Year's. They said we saw that. We couldn't follow what was going on because you guys were talking over each other, and it was a shame. And I said, I got to be honest with you. When I'm in that situation where I can be talking to a basically a full-on plutocrat, and I can communicate to him that there are people who have access to the airwaves who are going to challenge them and put a little scare into them. That to me is far more valuable than communicating the dynamic to people who are watching, because these people they go through their entire lives without a single moment where anybody presents any type of, and I'm not talking physical, but any type of threat to their power. They're not even aware of it. And so the moments like that are, I think are important.
Somebody told me one time, Sam, on paper, in theory, it looks really good, but we don't play the game of life on paper. It's just that simple. And I have a really bad gut feeling that President Obama will help the Keystone Pipeline through this year, and the TPP will also get passed too. And I think those are basically the two death notes that America has turned into a wasteland. It just does not care about its people. It is basically promoting economic genocide on its own people, and it's disgusting. It's shock doctrine brought home.
Yeah, well, I agree with that last part.